Hey guys, just want to touch on something else that I've been hearing today and last night that's revolving around Charlie Kirk and events like Charlie Kirk. All the death and hurt and pain and disease and children dying and from cancer and people like Charlie Kirk and JFK and Martin Luther King, and Robert Kennedy, all of these things that happen and what happens, and I've heard it again, is what happens is people, unbelievers, the world will ask, well, if there's a God, then why do these things happen? And I used to think that decades ago. I'm old. I'm pretty old. And I used to think that growing up. I had a really bad childhood. Went through a lot of junk. And questioned things like that. And it's a very obvious question, right? You can see why the world asks that. It makes sense, right? If this, they're like unbelievers, I'll call them the world. They're like, if there's a God, then how come all these bad things happen? Why do bad things happen to a lot of good people? And if I can give you all some advice to help you in those moments when the world is asking you that, because if you're not prepared to answer that, you're really not going to have an answer for it, And here's my suggestion. Here's my suggestion. The reason it's not God allowing it. This world went askew. It went askew, when Adam and Eve were deceived by Satan, by the serpent. He deceived them. Now, what happened was not only did they corrupt themselves and all of mankind, but the earth itself became corrupted. Creation itself became corrupted in that moment. In the New Testament, we are told, God says, even the earth, even creation groans eagerly for the return of Jesus Christ to be, for it to be restored to what it was meant to be. And even us, believers, I don't know about you all, but I super groan inwardly, hardcore, every day for the return of Jesus. Every day. I ask him almost on a daily basis, when? Please come back. Get me out of here, right? Now, I've gone off on a little tangent. But so when answering the world, when answering that question, you just tell them, you tell them the truth, obviously. The world went askew. Things were never meant to be this way. Adam and Eve were deceived by the serpent. The creation itself and all of man became corrupt. We see it, right? We see it in the garden. But if you want more proof, we see it with Cain killing his brother out of covetousness, jealousy, rage, and anger. So it's not that God is allowing it. It's we corrupted ourselves. This is our fault. This isn't our Creator's fault. He's just, up there allowing these things to happen. No. This is on us. This is on us. We have a choice. Whatever demon took Charlie Kirk's life yesterday, he had a choice. Or she, or it, had a choice, and to do it or not. It's not a sin until the action of it, the reaction of sin being birthed in your mind, in your heart. It comes from the heart to your mind to your hands. It's a 3-stage process where sin, born in your heart, transfers to your mind, and then it goes out to your hands. We all have a choice. This is why these things happen. And it is in our Creator's plan to restore us and creation back to where it belongs. I personally cannot wait for that. I often say, I ask people that I know are believers, and I'm like, do you know where you're going to be 10,000 years from now? It's a beautiful thing to think about. Do you know where you're going to be 8 million years from now? It's so beautiful to think about. While we're in this physical body, we're finite, right? We know our flesh is expiring. We know there is a limit to us being on this earth, in this body anyway. We know we'll go on in eternity, but it's a beautiful thing to think about. Another beautiful thing to think about is to think and process that God, the true Most High God, created you while knowing everything you would do to rebel against Him. He knew you'd be a pain in the butt. He knew you'd be stubborn and hard of learning. Like me. That's me. Everything I've done, and He still created me so that He would love me and I would love Him, and we would spend eternity together. That's an amazing thing to think about. He could have created beings that just straight up loved Him and obeyed Him 100% of the time. He could have just created those. But He didn't. He created you. And He created me. And we are deeply flawed. We are flawed. I am a sinner. As Paul says, I am one of the worst. That describes me. That's who I am. I am one of the worst. And man, if it was laid upon us to save ourselves, I think most of us would drown the very first half part of the day. In 6 hours, the first day, most of us would drown, and then the other half would drown the next day. We can't do it, man. It's the whole reason Jesus came, to save us. He's the one that did it. But listen, we live in a very flawed world. Most people do not know Jesus. They don't know God. A lot of believers don't even know the Word. They have no clue the times in which they live, and they don't know what's coming. However, this is it. We're in the end, folks. This is it. This is it. I ain't gonna put no timestamp on it, but this is it. We are in the end. I fully expect, before my generation passes off, which would be in the 2050s, I fully expect to see the return of my Lord and Savior, my Messiah, Jesus Christ. 100%. I was 7 years, check this out, and then I gotta go. I was 7 years old, sitting on the couch. I remember this. I was 7 years old, sitting on the couch. My sister was to my left. We were watching TV. This is in the 80s. And I remember a thought popping into my head. And that thought was, my generation will not see the grave before Jesus comes back. What 7-year-old thinks of that? I mean, that's... So I've dedicated the last 8 years of my life doing prophecy. When I came back to God after backsliding, this is all I've done for 8 years almost. Bible prophecy. I'm passionate about it. Thus far, I'm not getting any views for any of these videos. I'm not understanding of that, but I'm going to keep going. And hopefully at least one person will see these videos and will awake, and their scales will drop from their eyes and they'll be able to see the truth. So God bless everyone.